Today's episode is sponsored by Spot Productions. Have you ever dreamt of starting your own podcast show? Do you want to create a platform to better communicate with your audience without having to leave the comfort of your home or office? Do you dread the technical part of the whole thing? Well, Spot Productions has just the solution for you. Introducing Launch Your Podcast Like a Pro, a done-for-you service where they have eliminated the overwhelm for entrepreneurs, creatives, and leaders who are ready to dive headfirst into the podcasting world. Let them handle the logistics and set up your newly raved about show. And get this, all you have to do is provide your show name, your concept, and 1 to 2 already recorded episodes of which you can record right from your mobile device. Learn more about this service for aspiring podcasters at totspotproductions.com/launchyourpodcast DFY. Welcome to Table Talk with Toddy, a podcast for millennials where we bring real-life topics on the table for real talk. I am your host, Natasha Toddy Weston, lifestyle entrepreneur and 3 times best-selling author. I'm a sucker for business, branding, and self-development, but I created this space to escape from the worlds we create for ourselves on the daily. Table Talk with Toddy is the epitome of having the girl next door right in your back pocket. So kick back, pour up, and join me each week for real talk, current events, and powerful conversations about life, business, and all that other ish. Welcome back, you guys. You are now tuned into episode 39 of the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. So excited for today's show because we're going to be talking about not just someone who I'm really excited for, but I was also able to pull away some really important things that I want to share with you guys and kind of give y'all a little back history on how my week has gone, like I do every week, right? So if you are an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in every single week. Thank you so much for sharing the podcast. I cannot express how thankful I am for those of you who constantly share, who constantly download. And I was going to save this to the end, but I guess I'll go ahead and tell you, we have already exceeded our March download statistics or numbers, and we did that by the 4th day of this month. So it was the 4th day of April, and we had already exceeded our downloads for the month of March, and March being one of our highest downloaded months in the history of this show. And I can only attribute that to you guys just being so supportive and actually liking what I am talking about. And I think that's one of the number one fears of anyone who wants to start a podcast. At least that's what several of you guys have expressed to me. And I think that's why this whole service that Spot Productions, our sponsor, is offering is super valuable, because there are some people who are, you can teach them and they can do it. And then there's some people who they either don't have the time or they really just don't get the technical stuff that comes behind the scenes. And if you are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, you can see there's a microphone and lights, but that's the easy part. The challenging part comes when the episode is recorded and it's time to edit and it's time to upload and it's time to actually promote the episode to get as many people listening as possible. And I think that's why this service is so unique. However, I'm not going to get into all of that. So y'all go and check them out. totspotproductions.com/launchyourpodcast DFY. So I'm super excited about today's show. Last week we talked about the power of first steps. I shared with you my experience at a friend's first event, Spa Day with Sade, which was all about depression, overcoming depression and anxiety. And so I shared with you guys some of the experience and some of the things I was able to take away from. And we talked about the importance of asking the right questions. And we talked a little bit about if fake reality TV is here to stay or nah. So if you missed episode 38, you can go back and listen to it and catch up on past episodes at natashaweston.com/podcast. Now, normally I don't post and record a new episode until Tuesday of each week. So it's a weekly show. But I just kept feeling the urge to get this recorded since Friday. And so since I have a few moments, I wanted to hop on and do this episode because I've been thriving this year in a place of flow. So I don't necessarily want to just keep myself in this box where, it's great for accountability purposes to say, okay, every Tuesday I'm going to post a new episode or I want to do this or that. But sometimes we can get so focused on waiting for a set date until we miss the mark and we miss the impact that the original idea or whatever actionable thing you were setting out to do, it kind of gets lost in the wayside. The urgency and the whatever it is that is so deep inside of you to share with people, you can miss that if you wait on a specific date sometimes. And so for me, this podcast is urgent. I'm blessed to be able to record right in the comfort of my own home, in my office, and get it out within a matter of, an hour or so. And so I have been wanting to record this. And then one of the pitfalls was, okay, well, I've already started recording the episodes for YouTube, but I don't really feel like getting on camera. And I'm just being honest, y'all. That was my excuse over the weekend. But I got up this morning and I said, I'm going to film this, record this episode and get it out there because it's urgent that I share with you guys my thoughts as I get them. And that's the beauty of this show. So what is on my table this week? Quite a few things, but let me know on Twitter, let me know on Instagram and Facebook what's on your table this week. You can tag me at Official Toddy on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also use the hashtag Table Talk with Toddy and let me know what's going on with you this week or what's been going on with you since we last spoke. And I like to know what you guys are up to because I don't just want to be sharing what I'm up to. I want to know what you guys are up to as well, even though I ask y'all a lot on social media, a whole lot, I know. But anyway, one of the things that that I've been working on this past week or since we last spoke is that I'm finalizing my new spring and summer 2018 merchandise collection. So if you've been connected to me for a while, every spring and summer I come up with a new t-shirt or some mugs or some type of merchandise based off of something that I shared on social media that got a lot of response. So most of my merchandise is just basically social media driven. There's sayings that I post, quotes that I've said throughout the year, and I come up with a collection of merchandise that you guys can purchase. We are finalizing all of that merchandise. I just added a new design this past week, and it was inspired by the gentleman who side-eyed me when I said I love God, wigs, and trap music. You know who you are if you're even listening to this. And it was just so funny because I had got the idea months ago, but I kind of disregarded it. And if you guys have ever been on my website, then you see in my intro, I do put that because I feel like it's important for us to have these professional bios and things like that. But people want to know, who are you really? Like when the camera's off, when you're by yourself, when you're with your homegirls, who are you really? And I love God. I still love that, the fact that I love a little Gucci man and boozy doesn't mean that I don't love God. And I think sometimes we just get trapped in this bubble that we can't do certain things. And it's a lot. It goes back to putting yourself in this box. I can love God and still love my trap music and listen to it here and there when I want to. I love wigs. I don't see anything wrong with it. It took me a long time to even admit I was wearing wigs. So I'm free. So if you ain't free, you better get free, boo. Okay. So anyway, I'm excited about the new collection. I'll keep you guys in tune on that very soon. So make sure you stay connected to me, especially on Instagram. I'm also prepping and gearing up for my first trip to Los Angeles, my first trip to California at all. I'm going to the United States of Women Summit again. As you guys know, I was nominated by the White House for my work in gender equality in 2016. And so I was able to, and thanks to everybody that nominated me then, by the way. As you guys know, my work in empowering women and seeing women thrive has never stopped. I'm very passionate about it. And so when I got the email that the summit was coming back this year and was going to be in LA, at first it was a bit of like, okay, how am I getting all the way to LA? I got bills and things piling up on me. How am I getting to LA? And, I prayed and I was like, okay, God, if I'm supposed to go to Los Angeles for this summit, you're going to make a way. It's not going to be any type of strain for me to get there. It's just going to kind of flow easy breezy. Well, I reached out to a client who just moved to Los Angeles not even a year ago. I want to say like October-ish last year. And I just reached out to her to find out if she was going to be in town, just to find out if she was going, really. And she said yes. And she immediately offered me to be able to stay with her. So I was like, look at God. And then on top of that, the flight was really nothing. And so I'm going to be out there May 3rd through the 7th. So if you're going to be at the summit, holla at me and let me know. I'm also going to be doing some content creation sessions out there with this client and with some others as well. And so if you're interested in meeting up with me or doing a meetup or anything like that, y'all tweet me or tag me or DM me and let me know, and I'll make sure and set that up. So I'll be out there May 3rd through the 7th. I'm super excited. So when you go to California, like, I guess I'm just like a new traveling to the West Coast type of girl. I think the only place I've ever been on the West Coast was Alaska, and that was a nightmare. Another story for another day. But I'm on this smoothie diet, which I'm already slacking on. I'm just going to be honest. I haven't really been doing that well with it. But I have been cutting back on red meat and, some of the stuff that I was eating, trying to replace it with salads and things like that. And it's no alcohol April. So no wine. And y'all know I love my wine, but I'm not drinking any alcohol at all this month. And today is the 8th day of the month. And I haven't even thought about it. So we're on a good track. So I'm doing all of that to get snatched for my LA trip. So I want to lose about 7 pounds. That's my goal, is to lose about 7 pounds, all in the right places. So y'all make sure, if y'all see me on Instagram stories, on Snapchat, eating something I shouldn't be eating, call me out. I'm giving y'all permission to call me out. Okay. Because I got, this is my first time going to California, and I have to be California body ready. Okay. All right. And last but not least, what's on my table this week, I am planning for my 30th birthday. I turned 30 on June 21st, and it snuck up on me, y'all. I was just 25 the other day, but I'll be 30 very soon. And so, of course, for your 30th birthday, you have to go all out and you have to really celebrate. And I don't normally even celebrate my birthday too much. I think last year I went to dinner with some friends, some people I grew up with. And even a part of me still was like, oh, I'm not going to do anything. It's, whatever. I've got some exciting trips coming up this year. So it's kind of like, whatever. I'll just go to dinner, buy myself some new wigs, and I don't know. But I got with my best friend and I asked her what she thought about doing a birthday weekend. And she thought it was a great idea. And shout out to our mutual friend, Jason, who I met through my friend, Regina. He had a 30th birthday weekend. Gosh, I want to say about 4 months ago. I could be off with the dates, but it's been a while. And Regina, he invited me to come with Regina. So we went to Charlotte, and it was the whole weekend. We had a party bus, dinner, brunch, and I think they did like Top Golf on Sunday and a game. And it was just a really fun weekend. And I really like that idea of inviting your friends to come and celebrate with you. So I'm going to bite you, Jason, if you're listening. And I'm doing a 30th birthday weekend, June 22nd through the 24th in Charlotte. And I'm inviting, some of my closest friends, some people that have really impacted my life in some way. I want them to be there to celebrate with me. But what I realized, and this is funny, y'all, when planning this and writing out the number of people or the people that I wanted to invite, I realized one thing, y'all. I realized that I don't have as many friends as I thought. Have y'all ever sat down to invite people to something you're having, friends and family wise, and then you realize that you've either got way too many people that you don't want to celebrate with, or you realize you don't really have a whole variety at all? So that's what I realized. But that could be a good thing. And so, yeah, so I'm excited about that. So that's my 30th birthday weekend. I'm trying to figure out if I could do maybe a meetup with some of my supporters in the Charlotte area, but that's yet to be discussed. So if you guys live in Charlotte or in surrounding areas and want to do something during that weekend, just holla at me, let me know. All right, so this week's Table Talk round up, and what I've decided to do instead of doing like multiple current events, I decided to do a highlighted current event of the week, because normally I kind of touch on and piggyback off of one particular event that happened during the week, and I can kind of ride off of that for the whole episode. And I think I kind of enjoy that more because it allows me to focus more and give you guys more as it pertains to that event. So if you're new to the show, thank you for listening. The Table Talk Roundup is where we talk about current events that are happening or that have happened since our previous episode. And then I kind of dissect that event and give you my take on it. And most of the time I share some wisdom, some, thoughts on what has happened. Well, if you guys could just imagine what we're going to talk about today. I mean, if I could insert a drum roll here, I will. Cardi B's debut album, Invasion of Privacy. Now, y'all know I'm a huge Cardi B fan, and it's for several reasons. Cardi B inspires me, not musically, not saying she's not great with music, because I actually love her songs, her music, but just how she's built her how she's built her brand, and how she hasn't changed to build her brand. It's so inspiring. And so, of course, she had to be in the highlighted current event of the week. So I watched the interview that she did last week with Beats One and Apple Music. If you guys have not seen it yet, you can go on YouTube and probably just type in Invasion of Privacy, Apple Music or Beats One, and it'll come up. And she was basically interviewed about her album and how her album came to be, and just some, questions that the fans wanted to hear. And the gentleman that interviewed her, I didn't write his name down. He basically, was asking her questions about, how was life before she got all this fame and started making all this money and all of that stuff. And what I noticed is that, or what he asked, he said, it seems like she reached her success overnight. And she made a point to say that she didn't. Before, Love and Hip Hop, New York, before she really came in the limelight, she had been visiting every radio station in New York City, and how she had just been grinding and hustling. And right before Bodak Yellow, she was ready to give up because she had already invested so many years in, getting in the music industry and getting people to listen to her and hear what she had to offer and show her value. She was getting discouraged. And then Bodak Yellow came, and now we see how far that has taken her. But I wanted to point that out because I think a lot of times, because it seems like success is now so easy to grasp, we automatically by default assume that if we get an idea today, that if the idea is not fully executed and perfected within 365 days, some of us shorter than that, if your patience isn't that long, we assume it's a bad idea or that it's not meant for us. And I can relate to Cardi, how she's been grinding for years behind the scenes before her big break, because I've been doing this, just everything I've been in pursuit of for, almost 10 years. And, to be honest with you guys, sometimes it feels like I haven't worked hard enough. Sometimes it feels like I should be a lot further on this journey than I am. I feel like I should have accomplished so much more. And I've really been thinking about it a lot as I'm reaching 30, is like, what do I have to show for 30? I've been busting my butt for almost 10 years, just trying to be successful, just trying to do this, just trying to be that. And I have not reached that level of success yet. And so I say all of that to say that no success is really going to be overnight. It's very rare that success happens overnight. And even the individuals like Cardi B, where it seems like it happened overnight, You don't know what they went through years prior to get to that point. And so I hope that encourages someone out there. If you're like me and you've been working for years and years and decades and nothing has really happened in the way that you want, or you're not at the level that you wish to be at yet, I encourage you to just keep Cardi B in mind the next time you think about giving up. And this is why I like to work when I'm going through something. Like I feel like the urgency to record this episode is urgent because I've been recently experiencing these same feelings. Like I just feel like giving up sometimes. It's like nothing is going or skyrocketing at the pace that I would desire for it to. But whenever I get in those moments where I don't really feel like I have a lot to give the world, I just kind of get myself in this place of creating and still pushing out content and still pushing out and expressing how I feel and expressing my thoughts and opinions, because it's normally in those instances that it either triggers someone to reach out to you or an opportunity becomes available. You just never know. And so, push that energy into continuing to push out what you want the world to get from you, whatever that may be. Right. And so let's see. So another thing that she brought up during this interview was that she was stripping, and, this one night in particular, it was really no money being made in the club. And she reached out to her now ex-boyfriend and asked him for $10,000 to start a business. And I think she said it was a cleaning business, but he wouldn't do it. He'd rather invest in his homeboy's music and things like that. So apparently he had the money. He just didn't want to give it to her to start a business. She wanted out of the strip game. And so she wanted a loan from her boyfriend or whatever. She also mentioned how local DJs wouldn't support her, how they wouldn't play her music, and how it was like a fight and a struggle all the time to get people to listen to her. They didn't take her serious because she was a stripper, and so on and so forth. And so she said something, and I want to share this with you guys, especially if you are stuck on the people who don't support you or feeling like the people who should support you shouldn't. And I mentioned this, I want to say in episode 38 about, my first event and how I felt like more people who I've supported in the past should have showed up for me, and how, I blamed other people for where I wasn't. And she said something, and I want y'all to make note of this and take this with you throughout the week. She said, you got to make them a believer. And now I want to say something, because I think sometimes, people say prove them wrong. I'm not 100% on team with the whole prove them wrong thing, because I think some people put too much energy into the proving that they forget about the passion and the impact that them reaching a certain level of success can make. So don't get making them a believer and proving them wrong as, oh, let me just do this to show them I could do it. You don't want to do it that way. You want to do it because you want to make people a believer so that they can believe in themselves. You want to make people a believer so that they can believe in themselves, and it'll be one less person in this lifetime that they discourage along that person's journey. So I hope that makes sense. So she said, you got to make them a believer. And that's exactly what she has done. That's exactly what she has done. And on the subject of support, I want to dig a little bit deeper into that. And this is something that I was actually going to teach kind of like a class on. And I think I talked about it in the Brand You Like a Boss book. I actually did, about the circle of success and how it works and how the rich gets richer. Do y'all want to know how the rich gets richer? The rich gets richer by supporting each other's venues. Now, let's take Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy album. If you go on social media, the day of her album release, every single, and I'm confident in saying every single major artist shouted her out, shared her album, said some encouraging words to her, said how proud of her they were. And I'm sure even at the level of success that Cardi's reached, that still means a lot, not just for record sales, but just for her coming into this game when people thought she was a joke. Nobody really wanted to hear her in the beginning. But now to get the legends like Missy Elliott and Erykah Badu and T.I. and and Oprah and, to get co-signed by some of the greats, people who've been doing it way longer than her. That's how the rich gets richer. And this is why it's important to not just like what you love, but to support what you love. There's so many of you out there who can do more in terms of supporting your sister or your brother or the people right in your circle. But you think liking a post and sharing a post is support. It's support on a very low level. You want to support people where it truly matters, and it truly matters in people's pockets. Now, there are going to be instances where you can't support financially, but there's a lot of people who can support financially, and I've been guilty of it as well. And so you don't just want to like what you love, but you want to support what you love. And so in response to Cardi's album success, how she was certified gold within the first day of her record sales, the first, I think, female rapper to ever do that in history. That's because fans are actually purchasing her music. They're not bootlegging. I'm not saying nobody's bootlegging it, but it's clearly in the numbers. She had over 500,000 record sales in the first 24 hours. She's making history. And it's because people aren't just liking what they love, which is Cardi. They're supporting what they love. I know I went and bought her album. And people, like, I'm even seeing people who are heavy in the church buying her album. And even if they don't listen to it in its entirety, it's supporting people where it really matters. This is how the rich gets richer. And I'm on a quest to do more of this, especially with my inner circle, by just sharing, not just sharing their posts, but supporting them, going and purchasing their products. Even if I can't use it, give it to someone who can benefit from it. And I think if we do more of that, we'll find that our circles, our closer circles will become more successful, and as a result, we will reap the benefits and the blessings of it as well. And so I could go very deep into this whole circle of success thing, but grab the Brand You Like a Boss book, because I think I talk about it in there as well. This is how the rich gets richer. I mean, this is how they are keeping the money flowing within their circles. And if we could just grasp that concept, go and look at any celebrity and look at their 5 closest friends. And go and see how anytime someone releases a book, anytime someone's starring on a TV show, anytime someone's releasing an album, they are all sharing it. And they're probably, I can guarantee you in most cases, they're not getting paid to post that. But sometimes we get so caught up in, oh, I'm not getting paid to do it, so I'm not going to share it. Oh, well, they didn't support me, so I'm not going to support them. Set the example. Support your circle where it matters. And it matters most of all in their pockets, because when you can change someone's financial or help or contribute to change someone's financial situation, they're way more valuable to you than they would have been with just a few likes and shares. And so that's just something for you to think about, something for you to ponder on this week. And so that is this week's Table Talk Roundup. Congratulations again to Cardi B on her album, her debut album, and also on her pregnancy announcement, which just happened last night on Saturday Night Live. So she's having a winning year. So this week, if you ever get discouraged for a moment, just remember that we all have the potential to have a Cardi year. Will this year be your Cardi year? I know this year is going to be my Cardi year. I'm determined to make sure it's my Cardi year. So always keep Cardi in mind, whether you like her music or not, whether you don't like her or not, that doesn't matter. But her story is definitely one that we can all take something away from. All right, so this week's Table Talk takeaway is very simple. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Y'all have heard this before. This is not new under the sun. And again, this goes in correlation to Cardi B and how hard she's worked, and how even before the lights, camera, action got on her, how she was going to these radio stations and continuously putting herself out there for people to offer her opportunities for now where she is now, just with all of the stuff she's doing. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So that is this week's episode of Table Talk with Toddy. Thank you so much to everyone who is tuned in, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, or iHeartRadio, or whether you're watching and tuning in on YouTube or Facebook. I appreciate you guys so much, more than you ever know. Keep sharing, keep downloading, keep tweeting me, keep tagging me in everything that's going on with you this week. Let me know what you think about today's show on social media at Official Toddy and using the hashtag Table Talk with Toddy. Don't forget to review, subscribe, and share today's show. And until the next episode, I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening to the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. This episode has been brought to you by our sponsor, Tot Spot Productions. Be sure to visit NatashaWeston.com to join the conversation, read the blog, and discover more content. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to the Apple Podcast or Google Play app and subscribe, rate, and review. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Until next time.